Hey, good morning. This is Pastor Coach Anthony McKissic Sr. of Be the Ram Global Fellowship. I am excited that you are here with us. This is one of my favorite times of the week. It is time to give you the word. It's time for an impartation. I get excited because I have studied to show myself approved. I have usually had to live through the word. I don't know how other pastors get their word. Maybe they just have such a dope relationship with God that he just inserts it and deposits it in their spirit. But me, I usually have to go through what I'm preaching, and I'm like, God, I don't. You can just email me. I promise I put action required. I will check that email, because you get frustrated having to live through every sermon. And it didn't change this week. In the last about 2 weeks, I had 3 situations that I found myself in. And of those 3 situations, they all kind of dealt with the same issue. Situation 1 was the hurt cousin. I found myself in, we have a family group chat, and I said some things that were intended to be a joke, and one of my cousins didn't take it the way I wanted them to take it, and they were offended. And I apologized to him, but it just seemed like they just kept, going on. And I'm like, I apologize. What more do you want? What else can I say other than I'm sorry? Is it a genuine apology? Because I know at times family members don't apologize to each other. They just want to be right, and they take it from there. So we end up having a conversation, a private conversation. We FaceTime each other. We talked about it. We kind of mended the issue. And in that situation, I realized I really wasn't the issue all along. It was something else that he had been dealing with. He had been hurt from some other issues in his past. So it was the hurt cousin. And then it was the Mad Grandad. The Mad Grandad. I had to have a meeting with one of my players, parents. It was a granddad and a mom, and the dad was just irate. You don't know what you're doing to these kids. You one of the worst coaches I've ever met. My grandson used to be good until he met you. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, okay, well, all right, sir. I'm looking at the stats, and I'm thinking about how the kid performs, and I'm just not seeing what he's saying. I'm not really seeing it. So the person running the meeting, the athletic director, they're kind of asking, so what is the issue and how can we resolve it? Because we really, I have a class to get back to here, and we're really trying to get to the bottom of this issue. And then they really wanted to know, would he continue to play after the junior varsity season ended? And I politely told him no. Now, he could have an opportunity to move up, but I didn't want to put that out there right there. That still didn't solve the problem, because they still went back to, lashing out, and got louder and louder to the point we just had to end the meeting. And I realized that it wasn't about basketball at all. It was really about, they saw the grandchild hurt. He was upset because he wasn't playing the way he thought he should be. And as a parent, as a grandparent, you want to go to the defense for your kid. It's just natural. So once again, I had to kind of put my feelings aside and think about how this person was thinking. Now, that's not easy to do. And my last situation was, we'll call it the Shady Coach. You know how you're watching TV and they say, like, Steph Curry's the MVP, or the scoring champion is this person, or the coach of the year. So in high school sports, it's no different. You have to pick these people who win these accolades, and we call it a region meeting, and you sit down and you all meet. And you have to come to a consensus of who's the best player in the region, who's the best coach, which team should represent the region in the playoffs. So we have a situation where there's a 3-way tie. So you go to the rules, and the rules say one thing, but the room says something else. The rules say one thing, but the rules say something else. The room says something. Now, that's a word. Sometimes what's on paper does not line up with reality and the best decision to make. So there's one coach that says, I believe that we should be the number 3 seed. However, the team that they're saying should be the number 4 seed is a team that beat them twice. But what they're leaning on is what's on the board, the rules. And the rules says whatever they say, and it could be interpreted to make that team the 3rd place team. And we sat there for hours and hours and hours. Eventually coaches are saying, look, are we really sitting here arguing about who should be in what position when it's clear who should be? But there was one coach who just would not budge. You know, he ended up being overruled anyhow, but it was just a bad situation. Now, come to find out, we really understood why that coach wanted the seating the way it was, because there was a team that would have been short some players because of a situation, and he felt like he had a better opportunity to win if the seeds played in his favor. These are all 3 different scenarios, but each of them has something in common. Somebody in each scenario was committed to misunderstanding the perspective of the other person. Let me repeat myself. The hurt cousin, the mad granddad, and the shady coach. All 3 scenarios, there was an individual that was committed. That means I am standing firm on not understanding, on misunderstanding the perspective. There was nothing that I could have said or done in any of those situations to convince the individual that what I was saying or what everybody believed was right, because they were going to be committed to it. The hurt cousin, it didn't matter how many times I apologized, because he wanted to be the victim in the moment. And he wanted to be the victim in the moment because he had already been hurt. And he was waiting for an opportunity to express himself and say, hey, this is what I'm talking about. So I just happened to be the beneficiary of what he was going through. The Mad Grandad, it didn't matter if they didn't have proof that the kid wasn't mistreated and the kid got opportunities. What mattered is that he was committed to misunderstanding what I was telling him, because there was no way that he got all these opportunities and he squandered them. He couldn't be the prodigal son. He couldn't be the prodigal's athlete. It had to be us. And the shady coach, if he understood or if he acknowledged that this is the truth, then his whole agenda would have gone down the drain. So he had to be committed to misunderstanding. You have to be very careful not to waste your time trying to prove anything, to justify or defend something to someone that's committed to misunderstanding. You will only be wasting your time. When things happen in my life back to back to back, I say, all right, God, you're trying to tell me something. So what do? Since I'm standing on God's word all of 2024, and I'll carry that thing into 25, 26, 27, however long God tells me to, then I pick up his word and say, God, what are you trying to show me? And what I found was Matthew chapter 7 and verse 6. And it reads as follows. I'll read from the KJV first. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you. NLT says, don't waste what is holy on people who are unruly, unholy. Don't throw your pearls to pigs. They will trample the pearls and then attack you. ERV. Don't give something that is holy to the dogs. They will turn and hurt you. And don't throw your pearls to pigs. They will only step on them. That is the word of God for the people of God. With the hearers and the doers of God's word, please say amen. What do I do when I'm put in a situation where somebody is committed to misunderstanding my point of view? What do I do? Let's pray. God, thank you for this opportunity. God, I know somebody needs to hear this word. Whether it be Dre, whether it be another pastor, a friend, an enemy, somebody who's happened to be scrolling on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. God, this word is ordained for this moment. God, I ask that you forgive me of all my sins and my iniquities. God, elevate, increase as I decrease. Let them hear you, not me. God, remove any distractions, any movement that's unnecessary. Let it cease in this moment so that we can focus on what thus says the Lord. God, I thank you for this time. I thank you for this moment. And I thank you in advance for the kingdom, because it will be enhanced as a result of this word. In your son Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen, amen, and amen. I got 3 points for you this morning, and it will only take a few 5 minutes. Yes, it won't be a lot of 5 minutes. It'll just be a few. What's up, Miss Trina? I know you're listening. When you find yourself in a situation that somebody's committed to misunderstanding you, there's 3 phases that I need you to go through before you make a decision that could possibly waste your time and your energy. Let me repeat myself. Before you make this decision to engage, before you make the decision to react, to respond, to clap back, to let them know what's really on your mind, let them know where you from. Like, I'm from the east side. I don't know what you thought this was, but it ain't. But this ain't what you think it is. Don't let the suit fool you. Don't let the dress fool you. Don't let the collar fool you. Don't let the whatever, the badge, the degree. Don't let none of that fool you. Don't let the intellect. Before you go down that route, I want you to go through these 3 phases. The first phase is discernment. Phase number 1 is discernment. You need to increase your discernment. Phase number 1 is increasing your discernment. Discernment is the ability to make a smart judgment about something. You're going to need discernment for 2 areas in your life. First, you must identify your dogs. I'm not talking about who got your back, who's going to work hard for you. But you have to use discernment to identify the dogs. The verse says, give not what is holy to the dogs. It says, don't give something that is holy to the dogs. So first thing you got to do is discern, which means identify, decide, make a judgment about who's the dogs. Like, who's the dog? And then you got to decide the level of importance of what you're saying, like your pearls that you're putting out. If these individuals around me are dogs, I'll explain in a minute, and what I'm handing out is of a high level of importance, then I don't need to be handing it out. I was in a car having a conversation with a young man, and I was giving him knowledge, wisdom, like best stuff. And I looked back and he was on his cell phone. I said, hold up, player. Just let me know you're not paying attention and I'll stop right here. Because what I have to say is valuable. And if you don't accept it, if you don't want it, I'm not going to waste my breath. You can be on your phone, get on FaceTime, TikTok, whatever you own. But don't waste my time. In the biblical days, dogs were viewed in a negative way. It wasn't like, Ren 1010 and all these other dogs, like these emotional support dogs we have now. It wasn't man's best friend. Dogs were viewed as unclean. They were scavengers. They weren't domesticated. They weren't loved. They were like wild animals that roamed the street looking for food. So when you realize that you're in a situation that you're trying to defend yourself or explain yourself to an individual that you deem to be negative, to be unclean, to be a scavenger, that means they just go around like taking whatever they want. And they're just roaming, looking for something to eat on. That's the kind of people that they just looking for the tea. Who can they go mess with today? Whose life can they mess up? When you realize that that person is a dog, then you need to just, I've identified that. And you've identified that they're committed to misunderstanding you, then you can make a better choice. It does take discernment to realize that somebody doesn't want to understand, because they'll play the game with you. They'll answer the questions, they'll ask questions, but it's how they're asking those questions. Some people are asking questions because they really want to know, and other people are asking questions because they just want to catch you up. So as I'm having the conversation with the mad cousin, he's like, well, when you said this, I apologize. Well, this is it. That wasn't me. You're referring to somebody else. When I'm talking to the Mad Grandad, he's roaring. I'm like, well, he did get an opportunity. But the questions that he's asking is like they're staged or guided questions looking for a specific result that I refuse to give them because it was not the truth. So when you're in these situations, you got to say, God, I need discernment. I don't want to chase rabbits. I don't want to get caught up in the gossip at work. I don't want to get caught up trying to explain something to somebody, and now 30 minutes in, I realize they never wanted to know, and I could have been doing something better with my time. So phase one, you have to pray that God will increase your discernment. How long that takes, I don't know. Sometimes you pick up right away. Sometimes it may take weeks, months, and even years to realize you've been wasting my time, and I've let you. And I ain't gonna do it again. Phase two, you have to enhance your deliberation. Enhance your deliberation. What is deliberation? It is the process of carefully considering options, using logic. That means you gotta have a mind, reason, and weighing the reasons for or against an action. Deliberation, they say the jury's going to go deliberate. They're going to go and talk. They're going to conference. They're going to look at all of the facts, and then they're going to make a decision. Deliberation. My discernment was to tell me, when I asked for discernment, God, show me and tell me who I'm talking to. Who is it that I'm talking to? Am I talking to a dog? Am I talking to a scavenger? Or am I talking to somebody who's really wanting to come closer to Christ, who's really valuing what I have to say? But when it comes down to deliberation, I have to carefully consider some things. How important is it? Even if I realize it's a dog, or even if I realize they want to know, how important is it for me to change that person's perspective or point of view? Like, does it even matter that they know my truth? Oh, coach, somebody said this about you. And I sit here like a dummy trying to explain to a little kid about something I posted on Twitter. Somebody that ain't paying none of my bills, ain't got a job to give me, and can't take me out the one I'm on. But I'm sitting here responding. I mean, think about it. That's when you say, God, enhance my deliberation. Enhance the way I choose and select in conference. The way you know how a person feels about it, or by looking at where they stand. About, like I said, we're trying to enhance your deliberation. And you got to figure out how important is it for me to convince this person. And you can deal with that importance, or you can gauge that importance by looking at their feet. Looking at their feet. The text says, don't cast your pearls at swine because they will trample them under their feet. So let me translate that for you. Don't spend your time making deposits at a bank that has no security guard. That means the money that you put in that bank is not safe because the bank does not value protecting your assets. What do you mean by where do I stand? Just look down at the feet of the individual that you're trying to help or you're trying to communicate with. I'm not talking about figuratively or literal. I'm talking figuratively. Are their feet dirty? Are their shoes dirty? Where has their feet been? How many people have tried to help this person in the past? How many other conversations have this individual gotten? You know they walked through that last relationship, and they walked through the one after that, and the one after that, but each time the relationship ended, it was the other person's fault. So now here you are trying to tell them, well, maybe you should, as if they hadn't heard that before. So if you look at their feet, you can already see the old relationship advice that the other pastor gave them. You can see that they weren't handling their business at home. They didn't put family first. So now they're on marriage number 6, 7, 3, 4, 5. How about the individual that lost their job? And the job before that? And the job before that? They're very talented, but they won't go to work on time. They're not coachable. So every time the administrator or the boss or the CEO gives them some advice so that they can become better on their evaluation, they take it personal. So now nobody can mentor them because they can't receive anything. So you look at their feet and you see sensitivity on them. So they've been walking in the spirit of sensitivity. So nobody can help you out. They can't help you get a job. You have issues and everybody in the family have to deal with your issues because you wouldn't take care of your issues. So now you look at their shoes and you see that they've been walking in the spirit of sensitivity and they've been walking in the spirit of offense. You see it all over their shoes and you look down and you see, what have you been trampling all over? These are other people's time, other people's money that you've been trampling over because you feel like you're entitled to get help from somebody else. How about the individual that's struggling with an addiction problem? And everybody in the family has put their prayers in, they've cried, they've went and got you out of crack houses, they've put you in all kind of AA programs, they sent you off to retreats so that you can do better. But you are committed to misunderstanding their purpose. So now that you have decided that you're going to stay doing what you're doing, you want everybody else to pay for what you did wrong. So now they got to get drunk calls in the middle of the night. Now they have to be bashed on social media. Now they have to be talked about in front of everybody. Now they have to be embarrassed when you come to the play smelling like alcohol, when you pass out wherever you got drunk at. When somebody has to pick you up from the police station for public intoxication. And you look at their feet and you see they've been walking in the spirit of audacity. Because the audacity that they have to make you accountable for their issues, that is audacity. No matter what the person may look like from their ankles up, it is important when you are having these conversations, because I don't want to lose you here, when you're having these conversations and you realize this might be going left. I might be found me boo-boo the fool. And I'm sitting here trying to explain to somebody who I don't need to be explaining myself to. I don't need to justify myself. It's important, no matter how good they look from the ankle up, that you peek down at their feet and see what they have been trembling on. The Bible said, don't cast your pearls at swine. So when you look at the ground and see they've already stepped all over the pearls that came before you, you can be assured that they're going to crush yours as well. Yeah, they may listen to you because they ain't got nothing else to do, or they need some money, or some attention, or another opportunity. But the clear indicator that they don't value what you value is that they've already crushed everybody in front of you and every other opportunity that they've had, because they are committed to misunderstanding. So what do I do when I'm dealing with a situation that it seems everybody's committed to misunderstanding me? And the Bible says that a man's name is good and it should be kept good. So I want to make sure that you don't think negatively of me. I want you to know all the good stuff I'm doing. But I can't seem to get caught up. Phase 1, I need to increase my discernment. I need to realize who I'm talking to. Phase 2, enhance my deliberation, my decision making. And the last phase is to inspect my delivery. Now we flipped it up a little bit here. I need to inspect my delivery. See, it gets difficult when you realize, and it's frustrating, you realize you done put so much time and effort into somebody and you realize they playing you. You realize they ain't trying to hear nothing you got to say. They was taking notes so they can go talk about you, so they can go spread the bad news. They want to pour the tea out for everybody. 2 things I say I don't like wasting is my time and my money. I don't like wasting time because I'll never get it back. Money, because it's taking time away, and money is taken away, but I can't provide for my family. So when I realize somebody's wasting my time and my money, it does get frustrating. And I do want to respond, because I know that I don't like being played. So I have to pick and choose the way I respond, though. Not because I would be so wrong to let them know you've been playing me right now. And it's not because of that. It's because what I need to understand is that other people are watching. So they're going to see the way I respond. I responded to a social media post this week, and it was something negative, and I responded in a negative manner. And I showed my wife. Luckily, I have a wife that's smarter than me, makes better decisions than I do, and she looks a little better than me as well. So I showed her what I responded to, and she told me that it wasn't becoming of me. She did understand how I felt. She understand where I was coming from, but she said it could make me look bad. I should have just kept scrolling and not responding. And then I thought about 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 23 through 25. And it says, stay away from foolish and stupid arguments. You know that these arguments grow into bigger arguments. As a servant of the Lord, you must not argue. You must be kind to everyone. You must be a good teacher. And you must be patient. You must gently teach those who disagree with you. Maybe God will let them change their hearts so that they can accept the truth. And we know that the truth is the word of God. This is the point that conviction stepped into my life. I had to inspect my delivery. Not because these wasn't dogs, because they were dogs. They never wanted to understand. They were committed to misunderstanding. But it was because someone else was watching. And if I'm going to be a servant of Christ, I need to inspect the way I deliver my responses to individuals that are committed to misunderstanding me. If I try to argue them down, I could be an embarrassment to the kingdom. And the naysayers would say, that's why I don't go to church. Because even the pastor's out here, acting a fool on the ground. He out here popping back at folks. See, that's why I don't go to church, because everybody's the same. They're doing the same thing they're doing out there. No one's going to take the time to evaluate my frustration. They won't understand that I've already used discernment and it didn't come with a solution. They definitely won't know that I have been through the process of deliberation. And they will only know about my delivery. And that's why I have to inspect my delivery. How are you responding to people? Will you let the evil be spoken of your good? When I inspect my delivery, I take the time to consider how the other person may feel. When it was the cousin, I said, you know what? I understand where you're coming from, because I've been hurting that way too. So when I delivered my response, I could have brought them closer to Christ, because now they feel like, well, maybe I'm wrong. When it was the Mad Grandad, I said, I understand, I have kids as well. And if they came home hurt, I would be upset. So I just want to hear your point of view. When it was the coach, the Shady Coach, I understood where he was coming from. None of the reasons made it right. None. But I did have to check the way I delivered my response. You don't got to get everybody told. You don't have to explain yourself to everybody. Psalms 55:22 says, give your burdens to the Lord, and he will take care of you. He will not permit the godly to slip and fall. In the past few weeks, I have been complimented about my patience. People are saying, oh, I need to be patient like you. And I'm thinking, they really don't know. In the last few years, patience has been my test. Every time I turned around, my patience was being tested and challenged. But I know now that it was tested for ministry. It was tested for a moment like this, when I realized people were committed to misunderstanding me, and I haven't lost my patience with them. I haven't flew off the top. As I close, I want to remind you of the 3 phases when dealing with somebody like that. Phase 1, pray that God will increase your discernment. Phase 2, pray that he will enhance your deliberation. And phase 3, inspect your delivery. Look at how you're responding to people. Don't respond in anger. Don't respond in aggression. Don't respond because you're tired of it. You just, too long you've been mistreated. And now you finally gonna let them know that will be the time that you miss your blessing. I'm telling you, your blessing is connected. Your blessing is a test. Your test is a blessing. And it's connected to somebody else. I promise you. Let's pray. God, thank you. Thank you for speaking to me. Thank you for speaking to your people. We're frustrated. We're tired of being played, tired of being taken advantage of, tired of being misunderstood. But God, today you revealed that it is intentional that we're being misunderstood. They don't want the truth. But that does not mean we're going to stop giving the truth. God, let us have discernment so we can see where do we need to pitch our pearls, who's listening, who's really here to get a word from God. Everybody that yells pastor ain't looking for a word. God, help us with our deliberation. Allow us to take the time to evaluate the ground of the individuals who walk up to us. Are we going down a road that other people have went down? And now we think our way is going to work for them? They got to want it for themselves. And God, let us inspect our delivery. Let us respond better this week. Let us be the Christians you called us to be. God, if there's somebody right now that does not know you and the pardon of your sins. Let them call out and confess their sins to you and to you only. Let them believe in the death, the burial, and the resurrection, so that they too can be saved and be a member of the body of Christ. Not the church, but the body of Christ. And once they have done that, once they've confessed and they believe, in that moment they're saved. And there's a celebration going on in heaven. If you just got saved for the first time, first thing I want you to do is call somebody or text somebody, say, I just got saved. And then I want you to put it in the chat. Let us know you just got saved. Like let us know. We want to celebrate with you. I remember when I got saved. I think I did it a couple times. I went up to church. I was a little nervous. But I felt so good that I gave my life to Christ. That is the best decision that I ever made. I'm not saying my life has been just gravy ever since then, but I know I've been blessed. I know my life is better than it could be if I didn't have Christ in it. So I want to welcome you to the family. If you want to join the church once again, hey, we're here for you. BeTheRealm.com/join. Non-denominational church. We'd love to have you. If you've given, we ask that we bless your giving. We thank you. And I pray that you have a great week. Like in this word, if it meant anything to you, let me know. A lot of y'all, you tell me 3 months later, I heard your word, Pastor. But you ain't say nothing in the moment. We need encouragement too. Or share it with somebody that you know needs to hear it. Hey, this is Pastor Coach McKissic. Don't let me hold you. Of Be the Ram Global Fellowship. I challenge you to win the 97% and be the ram in somebody's life. God loves you and so do I. That's it. That's all. And goodbye. I'll see y'all next Sunday and Wednesday Bible study. Be blessed.